Assembling the first H assembly. ARackAbove requires a minimum of 50 inches of cleared floor and wall space on both sides of the garage or room where the unit will be assembled. To begin, screw 8 leveling feet into each end of the 4 external vertical legs, EVL, and 4 internal vertical legs, IVL, as far as they will go. While holding a complete vertical leg assembly against the wall, raise the external vertical leg, EVL, as close to the ceiling as possible and insert a clevis pin and retaining clip into a lower portion of the EVL. Make sure the pin goes through the internal vertical leg, IVL. Note: if you are not able to insert a pin due to the holes not lining up, lower the EVL 1 inch and insert the pin and clip. Adjust the lower leveling foot accordingly. Repeat the above step with the second vertical leg to be used on the H assembly on the same side of the garage. Once each leg height has been established, lay the 2 vertical legs flat on the ground, 90 degrees to the wall. Ensure the EVL is closest to the wall. Place the second leg about 48 inches apart. Next, grab an upper support beam, USB. Near the top of the EVL, line up the 2 holes on the USB bracket with the first set of matching holes on the EVL. Slide the USB bracket over the EVL and use 2 long pins and clips to secure the USB bracket in place. Slide the second vertical leg under the opposite side of the USB and match its height to the hole configuration of the first vertical leg. Again, secure the USB bracket to the second EVL using 2 long pins and clips. Next, attach 1 lower support beam, LSB, with pegboard holes, approximately 5 feet from the floor. Line up the LSB bracket to a matching hole configuration on the EVL, and secure the LSB to the EVL with long pins and clips. The ARackAbove assembly should now be rigid and resemble a capital letter H. Lift up the H assembly and walk toward the wall, raising the USB toward the ceiling as you walk toward the wall. Holding the H assembly against the wall, observe the gap between the top leveling feet and the ceiling. Adjusting the leveling feet. To adjust the leveling feet, hold the H assembly by the LSB, lower support beam, and walk the H assembly backwards, allowing it to gently lower to chest height. Turn each of the top leveling feet of the H assembly counterclockwise until there is about 1/4 inch gap between each leveling foot and the ceiling. Raise the H assembly against the wall in order to verify feet height. Caution: do not let go of H assembly during this next process. H assembly can fall. With the H assembly legs evenly spaced off the wall, approximately 1 inch, lift up slightly on one of the vertical legs and turn the leveling foot clockwise by hand until the foot no longer turns freely against the floor. Use a 9/16 inch open-end wrench or crescent wrench to turn the bottom nut on the leveling foot clockwise until the plastic foot no longer rotates. Repeat above step for second leveling foot. Once each foot stops rotating using the wrench, rotate the foot nut 3 more half turns. The H assembly should now be tensioned snugly between the ceiling and the floor and should not freely move. The H assembly should now support itself. Once secured, make sure the LSB is level. If not, loosen the bottom leveling feet and adjust the height accordingly. The H assembly should be snug enough against the ceiling and floor that a tug on the LSB will not cause the H assembly to shift or move. Caution: do not try to pull the H assembly down. From a common front or back wall, measure the distance to the first leg of the first H assembly. On the opposite wall, measure that same distance and put a mark on the floor or wall with a pencil. This mark is where the first leg of the second H assembly will be located. Repeat, assembling the H assembly and adjusting the leveling feet for second H assembly. Installing the adjustable shelf brackets. Both H assemblies should be upright, straight, tensioned, and set directly across from each other on opposite walls. Take an adjustable shelf bracket and locate a 2-hole pattern on the EVL, external vertical leg, that matches the bracket alignment closest to your chosen height. Using 2 long pins and clips, pin the adjustable shelf bracket in place. Repeat for the other 3 adjustable shelf brackets, making sure all brackets are at the same height. Assembling the horizontal beams. Slide the IHR out of the FHR. Take a FHR and slide it over the IHR, stopping 24 to 30 inches from the 2 center holes. With the IHR now equidistant between each of the FHRs, adjust the overall length of the beam to be equal to the width of the vertical legs. Before the next step, ensure the FHR is properly orientated for the adjustable shelf bracket. Lift one end of the completed horizontal beam and set it in an adjustable shelf bracket. With one FHR securely resting in the adjustable shelf bracket, pick up the opposite end of the horizontal beam and rest the opposite FHR in the opposite adjustable shelf bracket. Adjust one FHR until the 2 holes align with the holes of adjustable shelf bracket and pin in place using 2 shorter pins and clips. Repeat for the opposite end FHR and adjustable shelf bracket. Repeat the above alignment and pinning process for the opposite side of the horizontal beam. Repeat above step for the second horizontal beam. Securing the IHRs, internal horizontal beam. The next step will require some sliding of the IHRs in order to line up the center support beam cradles. Each IHR must be secured to both of the FHRs. Pin only one of the 2 holes of each FHR. Use a short pin and clip to secure each of the 2 FHRs to the IHR. Repeat above process for the second horizontal beam. All of the framework of a rack above should now be completely pinned. Installing the shelves. Starting at one end of a rack above, position the shelf so the waterfall edge is up and facing away from you. Lift shelf and walk under a rack above. Raise the shelf to rest on the top side of the horizontal beam. Push the shelf up and forward so the edge you are holding will pass between the beams. With your hands over your head, walk the shelf backwards until the shelf edge falls over the FHR. Slide shelf toward outside of a rack above, leaving about 6 inches from edge to legs. Repeat the above step until all 4 shelves are in place. Caution: before loading items on a rack above, walk around and inspect every piece and make sure all of the pins and clips are in place. Note: it is important that you load a rack above evenly from front to back. Do not have all of the heavy load on the front or back of the shelves.